Okay, looking at the third shelf. As you can see, I also have graphic novels on here. I'm not going to talk about those. Um, my collection, I should mention, is sort of in flux right now. I have been weighing which things I hold on to and which things I let go of. I have owned things sometimes for 20, 30 years. Some things I either have used to the extent that I'm going to, or I'm never going to use, and I just didn't believe it until the last couple of years. As I'm now getting back into the hobby after a long hiatus, I'm really reassessing what I own. One thing that I'm still on the fence about is Earth Dawn. I played in a several-year campaign of Earth Dawn that I had a ton of fun with. The guy who was running it is now, I can't remember his position. I think he's like line editor or something like that for the contemporary version of Earth Dawn, which I believe is the 4th edition. He was very into it. He was very good. We had a great story. We had a great crew of players and cool characters. I was Silar the Tiskrang, if I can say that right. It's been a long time. You know what? I really did enjoy it. And for a long time I said Earth Dawn is the closest thing to D&D I would ever want to play or run again. Because it's level-based, which I don't like. It's a nice twist, but it's still kind of generic fantasy. It's still orcs, dwarves, the things. But it does have some nice twists. It has twists on those, and the setting is a little less generic than a lot of your D&D type stuff. So I enjoyed it, and I held on to it thinking that eventually maybe I would get the hankering to run some kind of old-school game, and I would run Earth Dawn. 25 years later, it's never come up, and I'm starting to believe that it won't, so I don't know. I still hold on to it for sort of nostalgia's sake. We'll see if that remains. I'm not sure. After that, and so I actually, as you can see, I have, a couple versions, the Barsave box set, a whole bunch of the supplements for it. I have a lot of information for it, so, I could probably run a pretty solid game, but, I don't know. So anyway, after that, I have Flash Lingo, which I know I've shown on here before. Sort of a dictionary. Well, it's the Thieves' Cant dictionary, but it's like a little mix of like Cockney and some other stuff. I think that this will be a great handy thing to have if I'm running an urban fantasy game, be that Lankmar or something else. I think it'll be nice to have that. Speaking of Lankmar, I have the old TSR Lankmar thing here. I didn't remember that I had this until I found it in the box not too long ago. That's something else to mention about my collection. There's still stuff that is in storage, excuse me, either here or at my mother's house, which is, 600 plus miles away. So I don't know when I'm going to get a hold of it. The City of Lankmar map for the Savage Worlds version, I don't have the Savage Worlds version. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up, but I have the map because I wanted a map. Oh, and you'll see sort of in reverse. I'll go here. Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankmar. Most of the adventures, I know I'm missing the most recent one. Oh. Okay, and I have a free RPG Day 3 Wizard Conundrum in here, which I think, in my head, I figured I would actually run as a Lankmar scenario. And then Greatest Thieves in Lankmar, I actually went and got the box set. I suspect this will be a kind of thing where I will break this apart and use its components, but not actually run it as a tournament game, because the tournament game holds no interest to me whatsoever as a player or as a GM. It's just not something that tickles my fancy. So, but this has a lot of resources in it that I think will make great stuff for an urban game. So then we have the Dungeon Crawl Classics box set, which is very cool for Lankmar. And then I have my DCC Adventures. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's another copy of the charts. This is a great resource. You can get it on Drive-Thru or on on Lulu. I can't remember what it's actually called because it's not written on the cover. It is DCC RPG reference sheet. You can get it inexpensively on those sites, and it's a very, very good resource that I have made great use of while running Dungeon Crawl Classics. A couple of Lulu print-on-demand DCC things, and then I'm not going through all these, but just a whole bunch of the DCC adventures, including some free RPG Day games, all sorts of stuff in there. The quick start rules. So that's this shelf. Pretty short. All it really has is Earthdawn and Dungeon Crawl Classics. My Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebooks are up here for right now, as I'm, again, moving things around, and this collection is in flux. I've been selling some stuff off on eBay recently. I may choose some other stuff. I'm sure as I go through this tour, I'll think about some things that I may or may not be getting rid of. Earthdawn's going to be tough. I mean, honestly, it doesn't sell for very much on eBay, so it probably isn't worth it for me to even look at selling it on eBay. But I don't know that I want to necessarily keep it. I'm going to try to pare down my collection to the, I don't want to say bare essentials, because that's not true. I'll hold on to some things that aren't necessarily essential, but I want to pare it down to what I'm likely to use and likely to actually run or play, especially if at some point we move to a new place. I'm not going to want to carry everything with me again. I've moved this stuff too many times, and I don't want to do it again. So anyhow, that's it for today. I'll take a look at another shelf coming up.